Okay, hello everyone. I'm Michelle Goodwin, and this is part 2 of the training for cooperating teachers. If you live in the Central Virginia area and you are going to be able to host a student teacher this semester, this is the video that kind of talks about the paperwork and assignments that the student teacher and that you'll need to keep up with in order to be successful this semester. You will receive a handbook. The student teacher will give this to you after they have a meeting on campus with us. Then they'll give you the handbook so you can look through it. And of course, the handbook gives you an overview of what's expected of the student teacher and the supervisor and the cooperating teacher and that kind of thing. So it's a nice tool to give you an overview of everything that should happen during the semester. But the student teacher will deliver that to you. Of course, I talked about this in the first video, but you want to make sure that you have a plan for this semester. So that could be one of the first things that you'll do with them is kind of get an overview of when you want them to start taking over planning and taking over instruction and taking over different duties in the classroom so that it's a gradual thing. But in the meantime, make sure that they are keeping active in the class and assisting you until you feel comfortable with them beginning instructional duties with you. There are some sample lesson plans in the handbook, but of course we expect for you to look over their lesson plans just to make sure that you agree and you think that they're on the right path and to give a solid instructional lesson. So the lesson plans need to be given to you ahead of time, and then if you will view them, give the student teacher some feedback, and then sign them that you agree that this plan will lead to a successful lesson. That is really what we need you to do, is just to assist the student teacher in giving them feedback on those plans to make sure they're on the right track of teaching the standard and of course teaching it in an acceptable way that you think will be effective for the students in your classroom. Here's a quick sample of a timeline, and again, you should get that in the handbook that they give you. You'll be able to see the dates about when the student starts, when different assignments are due throughout the semester. It gives the Monday night seminar time. So on Monday evenings, your student teacher, depending on how far they have to travel from your school to campus for the meeting, you may have to be careful about letting them get out early enough on Monday so that they can get to their Monday evening seminar class. Again, if they live close to campus, there's not an issue. But if their placement is 45 minutes, an hour away from your school, you might have to rearrange their Monday afternoon duty so that they can get away in time for class. That's Monday evenings. Okay, these are some things that specifically are catered to you as the cooperating teacher. The first thing that we need is your form filled out, your stipend form, so that we can pay you for working with the student teacher. You should get, again, in that little packet with the handbook and so forth, your student teacher should bring that to you. But if that doesn't happen, you can contact teacher@liberty.edu and we can send you the link so that you can get that paperwork and of course fill it out, send it back so that we can pay you for your services in working with the student teacher. Here's some other things that we'll need you to do as the cooperating teacher. The first one is, of course, like giving an evaluation of the student teacher, their performance in your classroom. We call that the TCA, the Teacher Competency Assessment, and you'll be sent that as a link. LiveTax, that's the kind of the software that we use that organizes all our assessments. You'll be sent a link, and then within that link, when you log in, there will be several assessments there for you to fill out on the performance of the student teacher. Part 1 of the TCA is just like what any teacher, no matter what their endorsement area is, you'll fill that out. How do they, how is their classroom management? How is their planning? It's just, like 7 basic standards that you will need to assess them on. And then part 2 is endorsement specific, and that's, if they're an elementary teacher, then you're going to fill out the elementary form. they're a history teacher, like social science, you'll fill out the social science form. So part 2 is specific to their endorsement area. The dispositions is one of the parts of the TCA, and basically that's how they interact and their behaviors, basically. So of course it's the social responsibility. Do they display behaviors of a teacher that expects all students to learn in the classroom? Commitment. Are they there early in the morning? Do they stay after late enough to be prepared for the next day? So their commitment level. Are they prepared? Do they get there on time? Are they prompt? Do they do all the things that are needed to be done to make them a successful teacher? Reflective practice is, of course, just looking at how they're doing and finding ways to improve. And do they take constructive criticism well? That's another thing that they would need to do to successfully look at reflective practice. Integrity, of course, making sure that they follow through with what they say they're going to do. They're honest, they do the right thing, they interact with people in the correct way. So that's another major thing that we're looking for. And then lastly, professionalism. Again, their demeanor, their dress. Do they use discretion in their speech? Do they use correct speech, like grammar in their writing and so forth? So just all those aspects of professionalism. We will ask you to give an evaluation in those areas also. At the end of the placement, the student teacher will most likely ask you for a reference letter, and we prefer that on letterhead stationery just so it looks more professional, and so again it's an indication that it came from you and that it wasn't fabricated. So the student teacher will ask for that, and usually what they'll do is scan that and put that in their portfolio that's due at the end of the semester. Here are a few more tasks that we will really appreciate if you'll do. It's kind of an overview of the tasks that we'll need from you, specifically things that are in the FEM. Again, that FEM is that online collaborative software where you're sent the link at the beginning of the semester, and you'll be sent the password. If you can't find the password, if you've lost that, just contact your supervisor, and they can send you the little blurb that we have about reminding you about how to get your password again. So again, the overview of this is the TCA will ask you for a preliminary midway through the placement, just so you can give us an idea of how the student teacher is doing halfway through the placement. So if there's any adjustments that need to be made, that we know ahead of time, that we're not caught blindsided about something. So again, halfway through, we'd like your preliminary assessment about how they're doing. And then there's, of course, the final that will come up at the end of the semester, where we'll ask you to give them, to evaluate them. At the end of the semester, there's also a part 3, which is just where you'll give a suggested letter grade. Like what letter grade do you think that student teacher deserved? Do you think they deserved an A? Do you think they deserved a B? So again, it's just your suggestion based on all the indicators that you've given in the TCA. After you fill that TCA out and you assess them in all the different areas, if you were to give an overall grade, that's the suggested letter grade that we're looking for. The program evaluation is a link for just an assessment that you're going to give us on how you feel the student teacher was prepared, like how did the program prepare them, and then you'll get an evaluation of the supervisor that worked with you, the effectiveness of that supervisor. So those are all listed. Once you log into the FEM, you'll be able to go in and see the links. You just click right on the link and you'll be able to fill it out electronically and submit it. So there's no specific paperwork you need to do except for the stipend letter, so you get paid, and then the reference letter that you want to make for the student teacher and print that on letterhead. Those are really the only paper things you'll need to do. This list of FEM assessments, they're all online, so they're all electronic. The supervisor that should be working with you obviously should be communicating with you by email, going out to visit the student teacher. If you have issues where you need help, obviously, please contact your supervisor immediately if you have concerns or even just questions. They should respond to that quickly. If they don't, the last slide that I have gives you an email address that you can email that gets to our main secretary, and then she'll find someone to get back with you if you need prompt assistance. I think that's the last slide. There are assignments that need to be filled out from the student teacher. So they may interact with you to say, I need these assignments done, so please make sure that I can have some time to get these done, because some of them involve them doing it in class. The portfolio they can do on their own. The FES, that's just where they list their placements, they can do on their own. The CISL is one where they're going to obviously want to consult with you, the cooperating teacher, because they have to pre-assess the student, and then they have to give a lesson, some kind of lesson or intervention, and then they have to give a post-assessment, and then they have to analyze about that whole cyclical learning process. So that's something where they'll probably need to communicate with you about when is a good time during the placement that they can complete this CISL project, because it's really for them to learn about using data, using assessment to have informed instruction and practice. And then the K-12 survey is just where they will give the students in your classroom a survey about their performance. And then they'll look at that survey to see if there's anything that they feel the student shared with them that would, again, help them to become a better teacher. This is a screenshot of those assignments that I just talked about. They are listed there, and you will not be able to see these in the FEM, but the student teacher will see them in their live text when they log in. If you have a student teacher that says that they need a Christian service credit, what that means is that they haven't completed the number of credits that they need to graduate from the university. So some student teachers will come to you and they will not need to do a Christian service credit because they've already completed those requirements. Some of them that say they still need a credit of Christian service, if they ask you to do that, that's fine, but you need to give them something to do extra above and beyond what you're expecting other student teachers to do. So for instance, if you want them to like facilitate a play or something extra in addition, like you want them to come to several play practices after the academic day is done, or you want them to come serve on several Saturdays, like Saturday detention or something, where you want them to help facilitate that. It's something extra. It has to be extra hours that they would not typically do as a student teacher. So if they tell you that they need to do Christian service, that's what you'll need to do, is think of something extra that you would not typically have a student teacher do, because they're getting an extra credit for that. Again, we just want to thank you for your time and working with this cooperating teacher, with the student teacher. We know as the cooperating teacher, you really are the heart of what's going to be happening through the semester for them. Your mentoring, your advice, your counsel are just critical for their growth throughout the semester. So again, we thank you so much. Here is the contact information. If you need immediate assistance, there's a phone number there. There's also an email. So you will want to contact your supervisor first, but if you are not getting prompt enough assistance, if for some reason the supervisor can't get to you quickly enough, please contact our office and we'll have someone else that can get in touch with you. Thank you so much, and we hope you have a great semester working with your student teacher. Thank you.